Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, true believers and warriors alike. Hajabujin, Wa'an. Good to talk to you again. It's been a while since we had a combat commentary. Usually it's been all about the how-to fu and the demos, but time to slow it down. Been working hard, doing our thing, and this last weekend took a little break. Holiday and all. Well, I didn't really take a break. You saw the videos. I watched, as I'm sure as many of you did, the Mike Tyson Roy Jones Jr. fight, and that's why I'm here. And, it's always good to engage in competition to a degree because it does keep you sharp, bolsters your edge. As you know, I am a competitive martial artist myself. I have won medals, and I will do so again when this pandemic is over. Now, with that said, I enjoyed what I saw, but not how you would think. I found the undercard fights to be very entertaining. We'll get to the main event, but let's start with some of these undercard fights. There was a fight between this African brother named Sagawa. I forget his first name, but he was fighting a guy named Ortiz, obviously a Hispanic. And let's just say this was probably my favorite fight through the whole evening. Why? Because you got to see proper technique. I don't care what your fighting style is, whether you are a boxer, you do Muay Thai, karate, Hung Gar, Wing Chun, Tai Chi Chuan, Capoeira, what have you. I don't care. Honestly, at the end of the day, I want to see proper technique and proper application of technique in a unique way that sets you apart from everybody else, right? Because that's where the art side comes. It's one thing to have textbook skills, but if you can take what you learned in the textbook and apply it to real world engagements, that's what sets you apart. Now, these two fighters, I want to say they might have been welterweight or lightweight. They were on the slender side. And Sagawa had a beautiful jab. He was a great outside fighter. And Ortiz had a very good, what do you call it? Yeah, a right cross. He was very good with that right cross and even better on the inside. Now, in the midst of revelry with some of my friends, shout out to the homie Sam Cantanzaro III and Austin Cowan and his brother Jake. And my cousin Theron, shout out to him. He's in the next room. Anyway, it was a good fight. Sagawa was very good at the center. He should have stayed in the center. He was for a few of those rounds, I think he won because he kept stinging Ortiz with a jab. Now, Ortiz eventually won with his right hand because he's a good inside fighter. Now, in the midst of revelry, I was yelling at the screen. I was yelling at Ortiz because in my opinion, I think he could have won that fight quicker had he have come in with the high guard. In a future how-to fu, I'll talk about the high guard and many applications that you can do with that. But I digress. So, Ortiz had a tendency to get kind of cocky because he was very vicious on the inside. And obviously, he eventually knocked out, I think it was a TKO against Sagawa. Sagawa had no inside game, for real. When Ortiz closed the distance, he started swinging for the bleachers. And now this will come up later on in this commentary. But this is one thing I've noticed that a lot of, specifically boxers, do when they aren't adaptable in a certain setting. But it's all martial artists do it, but boxers especially, if they can't fight on the inside, they start swinging for the bleachers instead of rolling with the punches. You see this a lot in boxing. He did that, and eventually Ortiz got the better of him through coming in with the high guard. When he actually put his hands up, that's another thing. I teach classes. I yell, like, I'll be damn near yelling at kids, like, hey, keep your hands up. They think, oh, Instructor Rich is being mean. Instructor Turtle Sage is being mean. Why am I being mean? I'm being mean for the same reason my dad would, yell at me about doing things right the first time. Clean your room, save your money, eat your vegetables, because if you don't, bad things will happen to you. Life will kick you in your ass. You know, there's a more direct correlation in fighting. If you don't keep your hands up, you're going to get hit in the face and you're going to go down. Ortiz ate a lot more jabs than he should have because he's young, full of energy, egotistical. Oh, I can dance around. I could slip your shots. Can't slip all of them. And eventually there's always a puncher's chance in boxing. Remember that. This will come up later. Now, with that said, eventually Ortiz got smart, came in with the high guard, close distances, jab, cross, fight's over. Beautiful. This was in the 8th round. Couldn't have ended better. That was, to me, that was the best fight. Beautiful thing to watch. Technique. I love good technique, and both of them performed admirably. Oh, also, Ortiz took superior position. You've got to learn to take superior position no matter what fighting style you do. I mentioned before that Sagawa was good at the center of the ring. When you're a long-range fighter, the center of the ring where you can be mobile, you're an outside fighter, where your jab is your best weapon, like Muhammad Ali, like Floyd Mayweather, the center of the ring is your best. Ortiz, if he gets you on the ropes, he will eat you, and he did. Very good on his part. So, taking superior position applies to all fighting. And then being deceptive about it. It's an art of war. Speed plus deception plus superior position equals a W. Now, the next fight we will talk about is Nate Robinson versus Jake Logan. I think his name Jake Logan. I forget. The white dude, the YouTube star. So, yeah, what more can be said about this that hasn't already said? Internet, y'all ain't shit. But I admit some of those memes were freaking hilarious. I laughed, you laughed, we all laughed. Man. Okay, first things first. It pays to be athletic in combat sports like boxing or MMA, because this is a sport. This is an athletic event. However, big muscles are not the be-all, end-all of being a good fighter. If that were the case, George Foreman would have beaten Muhammad Ali. Sonny Liston would have beaten Muhammad Ali. A lot of people would have beaten Muhammad Ali. However, this is a skill. Boxing is a skill. Boxing is a skill like Wing Chun, like Tai Chi, like Bagua, like Shaolin, like painting, like freestyle battling. like singing, like carpentry. Boxing is a skill. And if you have not mastered that skill, all the athleticism in the world will not save you. Hoyan Jia, legendary kung fu master, managed to beat the snot out of much larger opponents. He's a tiny Chinese dude in the early 20th century, beating up Japanese, American, Russian, British fighters, what have you. And, you know, Caucasians are typically, on average, bigger than Chinese people. Diet, you know, it is what it is. But Hoyan Jia went into those fights mastering his craft. Nate Robinson thought because he could slam dunk, and, you know, he's a very physically fit brother. No one's taking that away from him. He thought that he could go in to a sport where most of these guys have been doing it their entire lives and, you know, pull a Deion Sanders or Bo Jackson. No, boxing is not something you play with. Look, I can do 15 pull-ups from a dead hang before fatigue hits in. Right? I can do 50 push-ups flat out, you know. I've always had a natural gift for upper body strength. Does that mean I should be a power lifter or play in the NFL? No, because there's many other skill sets that I frankly don't have. I don't know how to read an offense or a defense. I'm not good at catching, you know. So no amount of bulking up and improving my athletic ability will mean squat without those skill sets. Look, you guys have seen me basically what looks like the equivalent of ballet and hitting people. Does that mean I should be in the NBA? No, I'm 5'8", and I have two left feet when I have a ball in my hands. I'm not going to be crossing over LeBron James. It's not going to happen. No. Now, if I were to try, even if I were to try to box, and I'm actually pretty decent with my hands, I'm not going to be able to beat guys who've been doing it their whole lives and concentrating on that one thing for an X amount of time, as well as, you know, have the athleticism and the timing that they have it. It's just not going to happen. Likewise, if they try to kickbox me and add in grappling, I will eat them because look, I've just been doing it longer. It's your athleticism means jack you know what, jack shit if your arm is getting bent out of socket. if you're getting choked out, I don't care how strong you are. If you cannot breathe, you cannot fight. You know? And then Nate Robinson made a mistake of, again, swinging for the bleachers. You're trying to do a Hail Mary. Yeah, there's a puncher's chance, but if you're getting hit at the same time, it means nothing. If you're not hitting your opponent, it means nothing. Floyd Mayweather said this in many an interview. It's the name of boxing is hit and don't get hit. You get hit, well, hey, roll with it, block, slip, do whatever you have to do to keep that person from hitting you more. Nate Robinson could not do that. That is why he ended up becoming the Yamcha of professional boxing. So, and it is what it is. Hopefully he learns from it. Hopefully he comes back stronger than ever if he wants to continue. But if not, you learned a valuable lesson. So, moving on. Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. Yes. Uh, my money was on Tyson. Simple fact that the way Tyson fights, Roy Jones Jr. is not good on the inside. And look, everybody got a glass jaw when they're dealing with Iron Mike. That's just my personal thoughts on that. However, and because he lacks, well, because he's older, he's slightly slower, and Tyson's just fast enough not to get killed immediately, and he's got that old man strength. My money would have been on him. It ended up being a draw, but something tells me that was less of a skill thing and more of a it's Las Vegas. Let's make some money. Let's set it up for, you know, let's set it up for a future bout. And he heard in the news that apparently Lennox Lewis, another one of the heavyweights that I am a big fan of, wants to get into the mix. Well, okay, cool. And here's the thing about being, you know, an OG, like, you 50 plus getting in the game. Boxing is very dangerous. People die from it. People get hurt really badly. But there is a thing about getting older, and we all have to face this, hopefully. If not, you're probably already dead. The thing about it, the body's not meant to take that blunt force trauma, which is why I'm guessing why they didn't allow knockouts. However, let me say this flat out. I'd rather fight a 20-something, an early 20-something boxer, as opposed to somebody who's 50, because experience is a mother. Now, you remember this old video called Turtle Sage Takes an L, where I'm squaring up with my ninjutsu teacher, and he ends me in about a minute and a half. Yeah, that's exactly how that should go every single time. He's got decades more experience than I do in the game. Just that alone he knows everything I know about ninjutsu. I learned from him, but I didn't learn everything. There's a lot of things I don't know yet, and hopefully I could learn it. But, he's got, let's see, about 10 years on me age-wise, and about 20 years on me, well, 25 years on me, like, combatively in ninjutsu, just in that one art. So, I was in his world. I was going to get eaten regardless. And then just treachery beats youthful vigor every single time. You need a combination of both. And that has me thinking about my philosophy on martial arts in general. This is why I do Qigong. You notice some of the how-to foods that I've brought up are more on the meditative, metaphysical side of the game. You saw Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. after that fight. They looked worn out. They looked weathered. You can't go hard. That's why they didn't allow knockouts. You need to have some sort of Qigong. You need balance. You need hard and soft. Because one cannot maintain calculated sharpness indefinitely. That's in the Tao Te Ching. Look that up. And so I admire both of these men. I admire everyone who steps in the ring for your bravery, but I admire that skill set. It's you dedicate your life to this. It's respectable. You can make money, but health is wealth. I would suggest everyone, not just professional boxers, but everyone in general, pick up some form of meditation, some Qigong. That Qigong stuff is amazing. I woke up with a splitting headache today. I slept a lot. Probably should go to the doctor to check that out. But I drank a lot of lime water, did a lot of Qigong, did 15 minutes of meditation. I feel much better. Lively. Did 5 dead hang pull-ups earlier just to see if I still could. So we'll see what happens. But with that said, I hope you all enjoyed it. Boxing's not something to play with. It's martial arts, period, is not something to play with. It is not so much something you just play and oh, I'm going to do it and I can go pro, make money. No, these are folks who get paid to knock other people out, to physically dominate people. It's one of those things why a Navy SEAL can outshoot a gangbanger, because this is their livelihood. They get paid to be killers. It's just the nature of the beast. If you're paid to do something and if you do it well, you're going to do your best to get to be the best at it, because you have more incentive to. And so with that said, keep that in mind. Right? So with that said, like, share, and subscribe. Ring that bell. Leave a comment or 2 or 3. And get stronger, my friends. Be water. Turtle Sage signing out.